to Meanwhile at the Castle. This is podcast episode 14. It is March 10th.
April 10th.
April 10th. Let me put that on my notes here. It's April. You could tell that I'm behind on everything. So, it's April 10th, 2017. I'm Queen Deborah.
I'm Queen Emily.
We are queens of our castles, keeping the domestic arts alive. And you can find me on Ravelry and on Instagram. Wait, where can you find me?
You're on Ravelry and Instagram as Ravelry and Etsy. That's what it is.
Good job. I just changed Ravelry, so that's why I can't remember.
As Indigo Chicken.
Yeah, Ravelry and Etsy as Indigo Chicken, and on Instagram as Indigo Chicken Dolls.
And you can find me on Ravelry as E.G. Clausen, and on Yes, not on Etsy, and on Instagram as Salt City Knits.
We're a mess already.
I'm a little bit concerned about us.
Also, we have a Ravelry group.
Yes, Meanwhile at the Castle. You can just find it by searching for Meanwhile at the Castle in the Groups tab. And you can get our show notes at meanwhileatthecastle.com.
So, we are sisters. We are a little bit crazy. We live in Utah. Do we have a Utah accent?
We probably do.
Utah?
I'm sure we do.
The mountains?
The mountains, yeah.
Okay, so, Emily, what's happening in your life?
Oh, what is happening with my life? My daughter and I, Aria, she's my oldest daughter, we're getting ready to go to Disneyland in a couple weeks.
I didn't know.
Yes, so we wanted to do a senior trip, and we kept trying to think of all these things that were more highbrow to do for a senior trip. But in the end, we just she and I both really just wanted to go to Disneyland.
Is it just the two of you?
Just the two of us are going to go. Oh. And it's going to be awesome. So I'm wearing my, I don't know if you can see, but I've got little Mickey Mouse earrings on today because I'm trying to, manifest some more moolah some more money for our trip into my life. So we're preparing for that. And then I've just got a ton of stuff going on for Heroic Youth. Heroic Youth is our youth program that we run, and you can find information about that if you're interested at heroicyouth.com. So just a lot of work.
Fun.
And some fun coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah. That is a lot of work, Heroic Youth, but I'm really excited
it's gonna be,
about what's coming up there.
Exciting year.
And
how about you?
I've been sewing and sewing and sewing.
Yeah.
We dyed yarn.
Yes, we did, which was so fun.
We have lots and lots of appointments. I was trying to schedule my daughter's, she needs to have her wisdom teeth out, and I have two daughters that need to get their braces on all right now, and trying to get all of those appointments and everything, which is, just fun. But that's all right. In the meanwhile, I'm still here sewing.
And the weather is beautiful today. We got on Saturday, let's see, first of all, on Thursday last week, it was 72 degrees. We're in Fahrenheit here. 72 degrees. Friday got windy. Saturday it was rainy. And then Saturday night we got, 4 or 5 inches of snow.
Yeah.
It was stupid and horrible. But by yesterday night, it was mostly gone. There's still some out there, but it'll be all gone today.
Well, in the morning,
it's beautiful.
Yesterday, we got up and it was snow all over, and we left to go to church. And as I was driving around the corner, I saw all of my trees, and the limbs were down on the ground.
There was a lot of that.
But they hadn't broken, because most of my neighbors had a lot of branches break. Some of them had their trees just split in half from the weight. And so I drove back home. We were late. I changed into winter clothes and boots and went out and tried to get all the ice and the snow off of the trees so that they didn't break, and came home and they survived.
That's the hard thing about snow in the spring when the trees have leafed.
Wet.
Well, and the branches hold on to the weight of the snow, and we saw so many broken branches. Yeah. We have a teeny tiny baby cherry tree in our backyard, and in the morning it was bent. Almost the whole little baby tree was bent over. So Richard went out first thing in the morning and kind of shook it off, and I was really happy to see that by the end of the day it looked like it was recovering. So
we just planted 6 peach trees along our back fence. We're trying a new to us method. It's really old. It's called espalier, so that we can hopefully grow some more fruits, more produce in a small area. That's awesome. Espalier is pruning your trees so that instead of them being, dimensional instead of them being round. They're actually flat up against whatever you train it to. So we have our fence. We've put up some posts and some wires that we'll be pruning and tying them to. You'll often see them in really fancy patterns where they train the branches to make grids or different designs. So
I didn't know you could espalier. I didn't know we say, first of all, that you pronounced it espalier.
Well, I could be wrong on that.
But
I'm from Utah.
Yeah, we are.
Well, we say mountain, so I don't know.
But I had seen it with pear and apple. I don't know. I guess it makes sense. You could do it with pretty much any fruit tree.
Well, we're just experimenting, so we'll see.
Well, that's exciting.
So those survived, luckily.
That's exciting.
So that's all the excitement happening. Well, that's not all the excitement, but that's some of the excitement happening over here in our neck of the woods. So
I also wanted to remind everybody about our Knitalong that we have going on right now. So this is going through till Memorial Day here in the U.S., which is just at the end of May. And the reason we chose that is it's kind of this, I don't know, it's like kind of like the official beginning of summer. So, you know, this is our spring Knitalong, and that seemed like a good time for that. So you can find all the information, including all of our prizes and the details on our group. Basically, you knit something you can wear, or you can crochet. We didn't say it just has to be knit, right?
It could be
knit or crochet. Anything, something you can wear that takes at least 50 grams of yarn. And you can enter multiple times. So the more finished objects you have, the more entries you get. Since we have kind of a longer time here with our Knitalong.
Yeah, we've had several people already finish.
Yeah, so, and there's some really fun projects that we're seeing. I'm loving it.
Yep, it is really fun. So go join there. I'm going to put a picture right here of our prize package that we have available. So go and join that and show them on Instagram and tag it with Knitalong Cal so that everybody can see what you're doing.
That's awesome. We love seeing everybody's progress and so on.
Emily has a prize to give away now.
I do. You know, I had originally just done this because I knit these socks, and I mentioned them last time since they didn't fit anybody in our family, but I thought they were just so cute that I would give them to somebody who wanted them. And we had several people ask for them. And so I just used a random number generator. And the winner of these is Karen, who is Grammy Knitter Bug on Ravelry, and she mentioned that she would like them for her granddaughter. So I will get in contact with you, Karen, and get these sent out to you right away as soon as I get your address and everything.
Yay.
So that'll be nice to have somebody wearing those.
Yep.
Excellent. What are we doing?
We are going to
first?
start with our whips.
Our works in progress. I don't know. I'm very funny about using acronyms.
Yeah.
Acronyms, not anacron. Acronyms.
Works in progress, Emily.
Thank you. I don't know. It's just a dumb thing for me.
Well, there are some that really irritate me and others that don't. But also, when I started watching podcasts, I had no idea what people were talking about.
Right.
Until somebody said, that means work in progress.
Although I really hate it when people say, oh. Yeah. That just bugs me. I'm sorry.
Or if you, I was just thinking of one cooking chef personality that always says EVOO, extra virgin olive oil. Just say one or the other.
We don't need to hear it both times. Both ways, both times. Works in progress.
You want to start?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll show what I've just been working on. Although really, you can't tell what it is yet. So this is the beginning of my very first ever lace weight shawl. And it doesn't look like a ton right now, although it is a ton of knitting already. So let me show you a picture. This is called The Flowers for Yvonne by Romy Hill. And this is the picture of the finished, of what it's supposed to look like finished. And I don't know if you can see that very well. It is gorgeous. It's a beautiful crescent shaped shawl. And lots of different lace patterns in it. It's very ambitious in my mind. I've never, like I said, done anything with lace weight before. And I'm using a lot of short row shaping right now. And it took me a little while to get it. I mean, I've done short rows before, but I was having a hard time picturing how it was supposed to look or being able to read my knitting. And now I've gotten there, but you know, I think sometimes it just takes a time to get rolling in it. But it's just this little eyelet crescent shaped. But you know, it's going to be a big project when you're casting on something like 278 stitches. That right there took me forever. I had to like start putting a little stitch marker every 50 stitches because I was losing my place.
Yep, it would take me a week just to cast it on.
Casting on, I know, is hard on your hands. Though.
I would avoid that project at all costs because of that, or hire you to cast it on for me.
Ooh, maybe that's my
Maybe
new
not
calling
hire
in
you.
life.
I'll just bribe you with cookies.
Well, I bought this yarn, which is Anzula Meridian lace weight. See if you can see that in the emerald colorway. It is 55% tencel, 35% alpaca, and 10% nylon. It's definitely got a kind of a crisp, polished quality to it, but with the a little bit of halo from the alpaca, which almost just looks like random fuzz that you picked up. I don't know. I really like it, and I think it's going to be beautiful. Well, like you can, occasionally you just see like a random little curly like here.
Yeah, that's
alpaca. And I just will pull it off, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, alpaca just has...
I think it's going to be beautiful when it's done and blocked. In the meantime, it looks like a big crumply mess. But I wanted to try something that's kind of crazy. And I bought this yarn quite a while ago with a gift in mind for a friend of mine in my neighborhood. But I started a different shawl and something happened and I had to put it away and I had completely lost my place and fallen completely out of like with the pattern, and I frauded the whole thing, and then it's just been sitting for over a year, maybe a year and a half, until the other day I thought, oh, I really want to cast that on again, and so I came up with a different pattern, and I like the pattern so far.
It's going to be very pretty.
It'll take me some time, and I'm not in a huge rush or anything for that, so it maybe still end up as a gift for that same friend. But I don't know for sure yet. I'll wait till it's done. So that's going on. How about you?
Well, I have 2 finished objects. So I finished things. Everything else has just been sitting there. So right now I'm actually just working on my daughter's second sock, the cuff, because it's been in this state for a month because the cuff she would do one needle and then she needed a break. So I said, I'll finish your cuff and then she will zoom along on the rest. So that's all I'm working on. I mean, well, I have other things I'm working on. There's just no progress to show you really. So other than, actually I did work on my husband's second sock and I got it past the heel.
Yay.
I think I was maybe right here before.
Yeah.
And I did this much on it. So he'll have a second sock, and I just wasn't working on it because the needle was bugging me so much. But I was too lazy to actually get out my needles and switch it to another needle. So I've still been knitting with that same stupid needle.
You know,
so
the things we do.
While I was out here, I grabbed the other needle. I'm gonna swap it while we're here today so that I can actually enjoy finishing this. Here's the other thing though. My husband's very particular about what he wants, what colors. He likes gray, blue, and some greens. Yes, that's what he likes. The end.
Yes, this is exactly like my husband without the green.
And no fancy patterns, absolutely no warm tones in any way, shape, or form. Well, I guess, I don't know, sometimes browns.
He'll wear like an oatmeal or
sometimes.
Kind of. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, what can I make? And so I knit this sock, and he wants his socks tight. This is a really tight sock. I feel like it's good for varicose veins because it's so restrictive.
Compression tights.
So because this sock fits me.
Oh dear.
And I don't think I can handle the fact that they're so tight on him. He would be fine with it. I think these are going to be my socks because I like them still. So I have to find another pair or another skein of boring yarn. Actually, I don't think it's boring in the end. Somebody was telling me those look like socks that really trendy men would wear to church.
Okay.
So either he will be trendy.
I don't know what trendy people do. I don't live in that world.
We set the trends. We're queens. Come on.
Oh yeah, there you go.
So yeah, I worked on that. But now that I'm not going to be knitting with that same stinky needle, maybe it'll get done.
It'll probably go faster now.
So I'm actually going to do that right now. Forget the
should
cuff.
do that.
I'm swapping it over.
Good job. And I have to say, you reminded me with Nadia's socks. Abby had been working on those little socks that were also out of Knit Picks Felici.
Mm-hmm.
I was letting her use my Knit Picks wooden needles, and she broke one, which, was a little frustrating. The other day I got her bag out. She's broken 3 more.
So she has one needle?
She has one. No, they're just all, they're like in the socks, broken.
It's because it's on the floor and she steps on it or sits
on it, something.
Okay, so these needles.
I'm just done.
These needles, my daughter.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but I got her bag out.
And they're bent.
And they're like, one was twisted back, like almost a loop. They're steel needles. I thought they were steel needles. What in the world? I know they're skinny. Hollow. They're tubes. So my husband spent some time. I don't even know if you can.
I can see it. I can see it. Yeah.
It's still hard to see how bent, but anyways, these are her needles. I'm not getting another pair out for her.
Well, and I just decided, okay, until she's, she's old enough to be interested and she's old enough to do the project, but she's not old enough to be responsible for the supplies. So they don't get to stay with her for right now.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
What is my other? This is my other work in progress, and it's
a
actually
finished object.
Well, I was going to count it as a work in progress until right before I came. I put the last of the button bands on, and but it's kind of. I don't really have anything else on the needles right now, so I guess we're going into
getting stuff done.
Finished objects.
Sounds good.
So I have this tiny little itty bitty baby sweater.
Love it. It's so adorable.
And I've got this little scalloped border.
You can't really see the
It's hard to see it because it's not blocked yet.
And let's get up close to the lighting better.
There you go. I just pulled out a bunch of my little remnants. This yarn is it's Madeline Tosh in Dust Weaver. Madeline Tosh sock, I think, in Dust Weaver. And I don't actually know what this one is. This was a mini,
like a peach color,
that was given to me by Erin Cordering, who is from the Holland Handmade podcast. She's Mama to Abigail on Ravelry, and I think on Instagram too. And then the white is actually just a little bit that I'll show you later, but it's the same. Oh,
it's blowing out. I have to go all the way up.
Here we go.
A new setup here.
Anyway, it's just an undyed skein I got from Up in Yarns, and I was using it in my Good Vibes shawl that I'll show you in a little bit. But this pattern I've talked about it a million times. I've made many of these. This is a Lancashire Dream by Gabriella Dansknit, and it's just, to me, kind of the easiest basic little cardi pattern.
What about the scalloping detail on the bottom?
The scalloping detail I just included. I just added that in. So I didn't have the right stitch count or really enough yarn to scallop on the sleeves. So I just put a little stripe in there. I was literally down to probably 3 yards of this peachy color at the end of, probably not even 3 yards, probably 5 feet.
So you did win at
I did win at Yarn Chicken barely. Anyway, so I've just got a bunch of ends to weave in. I think I need some little teeny lavender to pull out that purple flower shaped buttons to make it a little bit more dainty and feminine.
I'm like, do I have some right here? Let me see.
This could work out really well.
No, they're not flower, and there's only 3.
But they're those would be perfect. Look how.
See now the lighting. I don't know.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're trying a different setup today to try to fix some of our lighting issues, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I love those. I need to find something like that.
They do have a lot of flower ones right now.
It doesn't have to be flower. I'm just
like
looking for that kind of...
in lots of colors.
Oh, yeah, that's
pretty.
That are
little tiny flowers.
Those are cute.
Over at Joann Fabric.
So anyway, I think something like that to just bring out the feminine quality of it. And anyway, that's going to be a gift. And I had a lot of fun. I mean, that was a really fast little knit. Sometimes just fast little knits are so satisfying.
Especially when you can do cute things.
Oh, yes.
The needle's out.
Yay!
It's going. It's going.
It's going in the trash.
Gone because nobody needs this.
Do you think you could sand it, or
is it worth it?
I don't know. Well, I don't know. Don't throw it away. If you're gonna,
it may be an emergency knitting situation where I'll need it, and I can
just put like a piece of tape on it or something so you can remember
stupid. Sorry, that's a swear word in some people's homes.
That reminds me of that story. Sorry.
What story?
Okay. Our aunt told us this story once about how they were at church one time and they had what we call testimony meeting at our church, where people in the congregation can get up and just share some thoughts that they have about...
Which aunt is this?
Gospel.
Can I know?
Mary.
Okay.
Mary. And one of the leaders of the church, their little, like, I don't know, 6 or 7-year-old son got up there and they're kind of like, what's he gonna say? And he said, things in our home have been just so much happier since we stopped saying the S word and the F word. And everybody's chuckling and kind of looks over their shoulder at this man. And so a little bit later he gets up and he said, I'm sorry, I just feel the need to clarify that in our house the F word is fart and the S word is shut up. Anyway, but children.
Yeah,
exactly.
Children. Okay, along that, I don't know why, but I want to hear what your favorite word is. Like
my favorite word?
I have a favorite word. I always use it. I try to find every
frippery?
Yeah, frippery is my favorite word. I try to find every opportunity to use it, and I have yet to use it in this podcast.
You just did.
I know. Okay, up until this moment. So
I don't know if I have a favorite word. Do I have a favorite word? Is there something I say all the time?
I don't know. I just want to know. Do you have a favorite word?
I'd love to hear from you. I have
clean words if you're going to share it.
Please. If you haven't figured out yet, these two Mormon girls would like to keep the language clean. Although I can appreciate. Anyway, never mind. We won't go there. I don't know if I have a favorite word.
You just like words.
I like lots of words. And I found out a word that I've been saying wrong for my whole life. And I hate it when that happens.
I do that all the time.
It makes me so mad.
Well,
you know what it is when you read a word way more than you've ever heard it spoken. So it's the word anathema.
Well, I don't think I've ever read that word.
But I thought it was anathema.
And please tell me what that means.
So anathema basically means something that's just horrible that you never want. So if somebody has an idea that they would express in a group of people where that idea is just considered the worst idea ever.
Okay.
Then that idea would be anathema. No, I'm sure I'm not describing that well. I know how to use it in a sentence. I'm not describing it well. But I've always thought it was anathema. And I'm sure I've used it and said it and people have just thought, oh.
Well, most of the people
Nice
who feel like
try.
me are like, I don't even know what that word is, so I wouldn't know how to
The
pronounce it.
problem is I hang out with people who are so much smarter than me for so much of the time.
See, I try
and they're
not
all
to,
like 22 years old, and they all know way more than I do, and I hate it. I love them, but I hate that. Anyway.
Yeah, you just smiled. Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, gracious. Okay, moving on.
All right. I'm wearing a finished
it's
object.
so pretty.
I know it's the elephant in the room besides my hair that's growing out.
Your hair's the elephant in the room? Is that what you said?
It's growing out, yes.
Your
We're
hair's
having a
pretty.
situation.
It's
I call
beautiful.
it podcast hair. I just want to tell you, I swear, almost every day I feel like, hey, my hair's looking pretty good. And then I podcast. The day of it, I'm like, what in the heck went wrong?
You know what? That's okay. We're supposed to be us, right?
Yeah.
Not like just for show.
No, I'm just for show.
Deborah's just for show. I wouldn't work in that setting, so it's okay.
She's the... No, it's just a workhorse on the show.
This is a bad day. So your shawl. Tell me about your shawl, Deborah.
First of all, I have to show you the beautiful shawl pin before I take this off.
So
This is one that was given to me by my swap partner a while ago, Madeline. I don't know if you say Manos. Sorry, but her husband, he makes these. He has a shop. Well, I don't know. He doesn't have an Etsy shop or an online, but he sells them. So he's the Wood Rasp Shop at gmail.com. It was in this little bag. Anyways, and it's really pretty. A beautiful shawl pin.
that is beautiful.
I love it.
That is really pretty.
So now we're taking it off. Here's my shawl. It is the Pacifica shawl by, Dole Valley Girl Knits.
Lisa Seifert.
Okay. So,
I think it's Seifert. Seifert.
love it. I like.
Here, let me help.
It's really wide, but shallow.
Which I like
So-
because you can wear it like a scarf too.
Yeah, and it's I also like it because this is great for this time of year. When
Very
you don't want a
light.
really warm one.
It just feels so drapey and
I love
lovely in my
So this is a
hand.
one skein shawl, but I actually used 2 colors. But it still, was the equivalent of one skein.
I look at the pretty little picos.
Yeah.
Oh, I love those little picos.
That
That's
I was
lovely.
finishing yesterday at like 8 o'clock at night because I'm like, I'm gonna wear it today. I'm gonna show
I
everybody.
love that.
And that picot, I thought it would never end. And this isn't even that long.
They take forever to do, but they're so fun.
Thank goodness for podcasts and things while I watch it to keep my.
Yeah.
Because the bind off, it's just never exciting. I don't know why. But I love the shawl. It turned out really pretty. It's lightweight and drapey. I did block it quite heavily because I wanted it to open up the lace section.
But the garter is still squishy. It doesn't. It didn't like flatten it. It's
So,
really
I really
pretty.
like it.
I love it.
So
It's
I knit it with 2 yarns. One is from Chili Knits. It's Bliss 2.0. And I just saw she has a shop update today, and she has some of this on there. It is my, this,
right
okay,
up there.
2. One of the 2 of my favorite yarns of all time. I love the different speckles in it. It is so pretty.
And it feels amazing. in your
It
shop.
feels really nice. And then the second yarn was just a 50-gram skein that I dyed to match my floss container.
That's right.
I had a floss container because I was like, what color do I want? And I saw the floss container and I took it to dye it. It matched perfectly.
Perfect.
So I did
So
50
pretty.
gram of this, and I don't remember what I have left, but of this one, out of 100 grams, I've got 46 grams left.
You have enough to do some shorter socks with.
I could do some shorter
With
socks with this.
Contrast.
So I could match. I would still wear other clothes, but
Thank heavens.
I could wear these 2 together.
Love, love, love.
So
That is so pretty.
thank you.
Just
I
so
love
pretty.
it. So my first shawl that I made for myself,
Beautiful.
and I've got plans for more.
I love
So this
it.
is my first finished object for our neon along cal.
I love
It doesn't look as neon now, but it still is pretty bright.
It
Just
is
all the
pretty
speckles
bright.
are really, really neon. I love it.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful. Okay, well, since you showed a shawl, I'm going to show a shawl, and I love this so much.
It is very
This is my favorite shawl I've ever made. I don't know that I'm anybody who's made, I haven't made hundreds of shawls or anything, but I've made quite a few.
And I love
And
all of your
I
shawls. Beautiful.
love this so much. Look how pretty. Oh my gosh. This is the Good Vibes shawl.
Oh, very pretty.
And I can't even say her name. It's Nadia something. So we'll put it in the show notes. And I love how this turned out. This I made with the hedgehog fibers and
is so
sock
squishy.
in banana legs. And that undyed skein I was talking about before from Up in Yarns. And so it's just an undyed natural in there in the lace pattern.
Gotta see how it starts here.
Yes, so you have to look
We're going
at...
to see the progression. Okay.
Okay. Trying to kind of show it this way. It's like little slices of lace that go in to this shawl. So it's not asymmetrical. Actually, the shape of the overall shawl is quite symmetrical. It's very scalloped.
But it starts
out here, and then you
the side.
basically knit this whole lemony. I call it lemony. It's because it's yellow, but anyway, this crescent here. And then you start in with the short row, like slices of lace into it that are so fun. They were so fun. The first one I did, I thought it was going to be horrible, actually, because I hadn't figured, I didn't mentally have it ingrained. I mentioned this last podcast. And so I was reading like every word on the instructions, just hoping I was doing it right. And then as soon as I started the second lace section, it just clicked in my head and I just zoomed through it. And I had so much fun making this. It was one of those rare times where I was just so sad by the time it was done, but happy. I was happy because I really wanted to wear it. But sad because I enjoyed it so much. I had so much fun knitting it. I will definitely make this again. And I'm thrilled with the colors. I love how it looks. I want to get some good pictures of it. And of course, I finish it right in time for there to not really be much of a shawl season left for me. I know a lot of people will continue to wear shawls through the spring. I don't like to be hot, so I don't wear a lot of layers.
I don't like to be hot either.
But I get hot. Cold. I get hot faster than other people do. So once we're at 60 degrees outside, I'm like, where's my shorts and my flip-flops? So anyway, I love this. And this is definitely neon, in my opinion. That is a neon yellow.
That is.
So it goes great for a neon along.
Well, and because I copy everything that you do pretty much in life, I just decided today, everything. Yeah, it's so true, isn't it, Emily?
No,
Heck yes.
No, it isn't.
Well, let's think about this.
Okay, you're right. But I didn't want to say that. It's just because you have sense.
See, I know when to follow a good trend.
Yeah.
Okay, so I decided, because I wanted to use this skein for something really fun. And I love socks, but I want to see it.
Yes.
This is from Rainy Apple Shop. The Rainy Apple Shop on Etsy. It says Beach Bum Yarn, but her shop is Rainy Apple Shop. So, anyways, I could do this part for the main, like what she did, the yellow.
Oh, yeah.
And then for the stripes where she did white, I want to do a really bright color from the shawl, like this.
Fun. That would
yellowy,
be fun.
orangey.
I love it.
Yep. And then I need a fruit hat. Because
We're going Carmen Miranda?
No. Like the Tropicana kind of. We already sang the Barry Manilow song last week or last time.
Copacabana?
Yeah. Was there a video with that? I saw a video of somebody doing that with the fruit hat. I don't know. Okay. Just tropical. It's a tropical feel.
It is very tropical.
So.
Very tropical.
Except for really the times when you'd really want the tropical feel, it's too hot to wear.
I know. That's okay. Actually, the times when you really want the tropical feel is when it's freezing and it's winter and you want to remember that somewhere
and
there
I
is
wear
sun.
these colors all winter.
Absolutely.
Because it's colorful and I wear all black like death.
Don't be wearing death colors, please. Okay, so what else do you have? Do you have another finished object?
My other finished object I cannot physically show you because I've given it away already. It was the baby gift for our friend Amber. She's another Queen Amber. And I made the little baby bonnet that I showed a couple episodes ago. And then I wanted to make a little baby bloomer diaper cover to match, and I had enough yarn and I made I looked for a pattern and there were a few different ones to choose from and I used the wrong weight of yarn or it just wasn't what I was looking for, so I kind of looked through all of them to make my own, and it's just really, really simple and basic, but I'll put a picture up here so you can see. And it turned out adorable, and she loved it. Everybody loved it. She did.
She mentioned it because I saw her later that night.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to go to the shower, but I saw her that evening, and she mentioned just how much she loved it, how beautiful it was. So
I'll have to make some more because they were fun to make. I like making tiny little things.
Oh yes, It is
For
fun.
cute little babies. Okay. So that's my other
Okay.
finished object.
I only have one more, and those are my neon socks.
Yay!
So
You've been doing a lot of socks, way more than me, and that was my goal.
I think, is this 5 or 6 pair for me this year?
I heard last that it was 5.
5. Okay, good. I couldn't remember. I'm like, I don't remember. So this is 5 pair for me finished this year. And I made these from the yarn that you gave me, which was Plymouth Yarn's Neon Now. And I believe the colorway is just called Pink and Orange. And they're just really fun. They don't match exactly, but I don't mind that at all. I actually made these again for my oldest daughter. And I finished them, handed them to her. She put them right on and wore them all that day. And then several times since then. So
they're a hit.
She loves that they're slightly mismatched. They're just, that's very her. And the colors are very her. And they fit her perfectly, which is nice because I didn't want to have to
The other pair
do
did
that
not.
again. Yeah. Obviously, I've just learned that the 68 stitch is the best fit for both her and for me.
Well, and the
And
slip stitch made it
That slip
tighter.
stitch on those geek socks, yeah, or color work. I see people do color work socks, they like stranded color work, and I don't think that would, I mean, I would have to needle size up or increase stitch count or something because I need that stretchability. So
that's your second finished object for the neon.
yes.
She's on a roll. My
It's so
goodness.
fun.
Good job. You're fast. You're really fast.
Well, these were nice because look at them. No contrast heels or toes or cuffs.
So extra things to weave in.
No extra things to weave in. I did the, heel flap and gusset, which is super fast. So and they're not super long in the leg. So they were just and off the needles. They were fast, really fast.
Oh, I was just given a pattern by Spinning Laura on Etsy. She has several different sock patterns, and she gifted me a pattern, and I cannot remember the name now. I'm going to put it on the bottom to try because I always want to try different heel patterns. So I'm going to try that on my next pair. So that will be
That's
fun.
awesome.
Thanks, Laura. So that one, and
That's
there
really
was
sweet.
the Fleagle heel that I wanted to try. So there's those 2 to try next. I do always kind of fall back on the heel flap and gusset because it fits well. It just fits really
very
nice.
well.
And it can fit everybody. So
Well,
I
and
like that.
I don't have to think about it. In fact, if I want to do a different heel, I almost have to figure out a way to stop myself because I'll get to the heel and I'll just keep going without thinking. I've done that before where I get through that. Oh yeah, I was going to do a contrast heel on this and I've completely forgotten because I don't know, my brain just goes. It just does it. So anyway.
So I'm looking forward to trying some new heels. I don't know. Someday I'll settle in on one. Maybe not.
I don't
That's
think there's
my
anything that says you have to settle in on one.
Well, I like to try all of the different ones so that I could find what I like best. But maybe it's that I haven't found the one I like. I like how the heel flap and gusset feels, but I don't actually like knitting them. I hate to knit the gusset.
The gusset is obnoxious.
I can't stand that. So
It
if I
takes
could
forever.
avoid that, I'll be really happy. So
that was the one thing I did like about doing like a short row heel. It just is so much faster, but it's shallower. And I still haven't finished those other socks. I don't know what it is. I have this scrappy sock issue. I don't think scrappy socks are for me unless I can figure out a better way for joining and my yarns in. I don't enjoy it at all. Just to make it clear.
by the way, did you get that?
And it makes me feel sad because I see other people's, like I commented on Danny from Little Bobbins. She had posted the most recent pair that she had finished.
Pretty.
And they're beautiful. I love how they look. But I'm looking at that picture and I can't see the join, like the place where she joined in her yarns at all. But in mine, there's just that little wonky bit of, like, there's a stitch right where the join is when I weave them in that's just a little off. I can't even identify exactly what it is. It's like the tension is just not quite right or something. And so therefore, to me, it just doesn't look as nice. And makes me, you want your projects to look beautiful.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and scrappy socks to me also don't appeal so much because they're random. And I don't.
Well, and that's probably why I like the look of them.
I was going to say, I think I liked Danny's scrappy socks because they didn't look random.
They looked very planned.
They had a theme. They looked I really liked her scrappy, non-scrappy socks. So.
Cool.
Do you have any other finished objects?
I don't. It's kind of a light week. Maybe because we haven't waited for a month to.
Yeah. Well, and I've been, like I said, sewing mostly.
Yeah. And I've been taking care of my father-in-law.
Yeah.
A lot. So.
Yes. Lots of things happening. But we did get together and have a yarn dyeing day.
Which was fun.
And I can't show the yarn I dyed because it's for my Project Bag of the Month club. But I have another one also.
Yes,
I was going to show along with yours when you get to that. So you show your yarn dyeing adventures.
All right. So like 3 years ago, I dyed 50 grams of worsted weight yarn one time. And that was the only yarn dyeing I've ever done. And so I just decided I wanted to go for it. And I started watching tutorials and I wanted to try different methods and different dyes. And I started out with like food colorings and Kool-Aid, which by the way are a blast. Mm-hmm. I really love working with them. You get a different quality of dye or a different quality of finished object, but I think they're wonderful. So the first one I dyed was this one, this skein right here. And this was done with food coloring. And I hand painted it. And it was just really fun. I enjoyed it. I think it's beautiful, actually.
It is.
I love it.
Now, why don't you tell us, did you do this kettle dyed,
these were hand painted and then microwaved.
Okay.
That's how this one was done. I've done a variety of techniques. And I wanted, plenty of white in it. So I didn't try too hard to get let's see if it's blowing out. I didn't try too hard to get rid of that. I just kind of let it be more streaky. Mm-hmm. But I went, I was really happy. I'm really happy with how it turned out. The next one I did was kettle dyed and then lightly speckled. And
that's so pretty.
I love this one. So you can see.
So what did you use for this one?
So I used Kool-Aid for this one, both for the regular tonal and for the little darker speckles here.
So what flavors?
I used Tropical Punch for the main color and Black Cherry for these little speckles that you can see throughout. And I used the dry Kool-Aid powder to get those speckles. So I kettle dyed it, and then and then I didn't have a lot of liquid. I tried to keep it so it was barely submerged. Mm-hmm. And then I drained off some of the liquid, and then while it was still hot and still in the water, I sprinkled and dabbed in a couple places with that.
And it's very, very
pretty.
And
I love how it turned out. I think it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it is.
So pretty. These are all on an MCN base. Okay, then the next one I did was this one. And this one I was going for a more saturated, although not perfectly saturated because color. And again, this is with the Neon McCormick food colorings. And I just mixed them up. I mean, I didn't mix any colors. They were just the pure 4 colors in the package. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
it's very pretty.
I love the purple. I love where the blues and the greens met right in there.
Yeah.
I love that. That pink is really pretty. Also, there was a spot I wanted to show right in here where the purples and the greens met. It's very iris or crocus kind of color. So I did that one, and that was way, way awesome. And then one more. This one was kettle dyed with Kool-Aid and food coloring. So I did this with peach mango Kool-Aid. And then I used food coloring and just put blobs in around the kettle to kind of give it some extra. You can see some kind of pink.
Of what color?
I'm trying to remember. I think this was the pink from that neon. And from the Neon McCormick's, you can see just a little bit. I didn't do very much of it, just a little bit. And then this yellow was just regular, plain old yellow food coloring right there. And so it's overall peach with a little bit of pink and yellow. I think it's gorgeous.
It is.
I mean, I would absolutely pick this up at the yarn store. So I wanted to show all of these that are, oh, and there's one more. I did speckles with, these are all done with things you can buy at the grocery store. And I wanted to show them because I think that some of us who want to try dyeing yarn, and I don't plan to dye yarn as a business. I'm doing it for my own enjoyment. And I think sometimes those of us who would like to try that feel intimidated because we see so many of the beautiful indie dyers who are using very professional products and think that we would have to do that big setup in order to get something really beautiful. But you don't. You really can do something with very simple. So this speckly one, I did, let's see if I can remember. I did this or I put just plastic wrap down, put my yarn down, pre-soaked, and I used a little, very light, like not saturated color from that blue from the neon kit, food coloring kit, to get some just really pale blue streaks you can kind of see running through this. And I just painted those on with a squeeze bottle. And then I made a more saturated dye with each of those other neons, and speckled it on with a fan brush, and then microwaved it. And I think I just love this too. It's very, to me, like Easter egg, it's pastel, really spring. So those are all the ones that I did with just grocery store purchasable supplies.
And you used citric acid as your mordant.
Citric acid as my mordant, yes.
And where did you get your citric acid?
I bought that also at the grocery store. You can get that any store that sells supplies for home canning, food preservation. I think it's Ball. Sells citric acid that you can use for when you're canning fruits and so on to preserve your fruits. And so I purchased that, and it's just plain citric acid. So the other nice thing about all of that is because all of that is food safe, I could do it in my kitchen. I could use pots and spoons and tongs and so on,
strainers
that I use for food without worries about there being any toxicity. And my kids helped with it. Especially my Abby, she had a great time with that.
Yeah, she dyed her own skein that turned out really fun, a green.
Yeah, she had a lot of fun. It's kind of we called it Mermaid Lagoon. Oh. It's kind of a blue-green with blotches of color, which we also did in a kettle dye.
You have to say a Mermaid Lagoon.
Mermaid Lagoon.
Like from
and then sparkles. Or bubbles. Bubbles would be good. So fun. Those were all the ones I did at home. And then we got together.
Yeah, so it was really fun. You wanted to try some acid dyes. What will be interesting is to see how your food coloring and Kool-Aid dyed skeins hold up, washing it and over time with wear. But I've used Kool-Aid and food coloring, and
I expect to see
6 months ago, and I've used the yarn and washed it, and it's looked great.
Well, and that one time years ago when I did dye that one skein, I used food coloring for it. I have a mini of it, and I put it in a sweater that's been worn and used. It bled a little bit, and so there was that
but
issue.
You used vinegar.
And I used vinegar.
And I used
that.
vinegar on mine too, on the other ones.
I think that, it's an experiment, but it hasn't faded out at all.
Yeah.
It did bleed a little bit. I think that was, it was the first one I'd ever done, and I've learned more about setting the color and how to know if it's really exhausted and so on than I knew then. But
so they all turned out really pretty, and like you said, they're definitely yarns I would choose and pick up and purchase.
Right. I really just looking at those yarns.
So
I really
let's see. Oh well, let's show your last one. So you wanted to try some acid dyes.
So then, Deborah and I got together, and I used some of her acid dyes, and she's got the supplies to do this in a better way than I do. And I did this skein. And this one, we did, I did this bright yellow here, and then just speckled it, and we did a dry speckle, and then we heated it in the oven to get those colors. I really think it's gorgeous.
It is.
It
turned
really
out really
beautiful.
Nice.
I love this. The interesting thing about this is between this yarn and those others, I would have picked those others up first. Like if I was at a yarn store.
Yeah.
But I think it's gorgeous. I love it. It's so fun.
Well, I think it's fun that you chose those colors, and in the end, you know, it turned out so pretty.
So vibrant.
And yeah, I mean, it's
definitely
really pretty.
Much more vibrant.
But when I was dyeing this yarn, and I just wanted 50 grams, and I wanted to do another one, because I was thinking I'd do some things for like contrasting cuff seals and toes and socks, and I thought, well, I'll just try something different, and I'm going to try some color combinations and some speckling techniques and stuff. So I tried a skein, and I thought it was hideous, a 50 gram skein. So then I over dyed it with some yellow, and I thought it was even worse, so I just put it aside. And I don't know, a week later, last week, I was out in my sewing room, and I just saw the end of a skein of yarn poking out, and I was like, what is it? I don't remember that one. That one's so pretty. And it's the yarn I dyed. So.
Which is beautiful.
But it's very similar. They turned out different.
This is a little more neon kind of.
But I thought it was funny.
Yeah, they're very similar.
You have fuchsia speckles, and mine are red. You have fuchsia and blue and purple, and mine are blue and red and orangey kind of speckles.
But they're basically the same yellow.
And it's the same yellow. But they turned out very similar.
Yeah.
I actually really like this one.
I really like this too. As I'm looking at it.
I know, you keep turning it around and you see the colors. Ooh.
It's so pretty. These skeins have just given me such joy. I have like a little knitting cart. I call it my knitting cart. Little cart that I always put next to my chair. I've recently moved where that is. My husband calls it my knitting nest.
I think that's
anyway.
Perfect.
It was in my room, and then my father-in-law came and stayed with us for a while, and we gave him that space, and so I moved it down into kind of our family room, our TV room. And anyway, I just go by, and they're all laying in my little baskets on top of my cart, and they just make me so happy.
So let's see them all together, because they actually look all really nice. They look like they all coordinate well.
Well, they're all just kind of colors that I would typically want to wear.
Yeah.
And
how
as you
pretty.
can tell, I really like bright colors. But look how it's so happy. I love it. It's so much fun. And I definitely want to just keep going. I enjoyed working with the acid dyes, but I really enjoyed working with the food coloring and so on. So I am interested to see how they're going to hang or hold up over time. Again, because I don't plan on doing this professionally, it's just for my own self.
All separate equipment.
Yeah, I want to be able to the wonderful thing about this is I would just kind of go, I want to dye a skein of yarn. I can pull everything out, boom, do it, and I'm done, and it's really fast because it's all just can be in my kitchen with the equipment that I already
when I
have
do
around,
yarn and you're doing the acid dyes, and I do it in my kitchen, so I have to protect everything, make sure everything's out of the way, put away, especially if you're going to speckle anything, and then I have to clean it all down and I want to make sure, and all the equipment, because I use all separate equipment, then I have to haul all of that out. And so if I'm going to dye yarn, we better make it worth the time and do a whole bunch.
Right, exactly.
So if you're doing it with food safe dyes, then it's a lot easier that way.
Right, yeah.
So it was fun adventures in dyeing.
Way fun.
And in dyeing. My husband keeps laughing.
I know. I have to do something with this soon.
Yep, for the spring.
I think that's so pretty. And These two?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think they would be really pretty.
It would be.
But I also think I might want to do a purple skein to go with it. Anyway, sorry. I'm
fun. They're so fun.
And you have some beautiful yarns that she can't show yet because they're for her Project Bag of the Month Club, right?
Yes,
do they go along with it?
They do.
But I will tell you, they're gorgeous.
They're fun.
And that was really fun to watch you dye those. They're so beautiful. Seriously, whoever is signed up for that club, you guys, you are so going to love them.
I just love dyeing yarn because it's just another form of painting.
Yes.
So it's another way
and that may
creative.
have just been the unintentional but perfect segue into our snippets from the past.
So, snippets. Wait. Here you go. You introduce it. Ready? Okay.
Snippets from the past.
All right. I got to put this stuff away.
Yes.
So we like to share things from different ancestors, and today it's going to be all about our Grandpa Gray, or no, wrong Grandpa Childs.
And that just made me so happy.
So our Grandpa Childs was the sweetest man ever. Sweetest. He always referred to his wife as my beautiful bride. And he called every one of us. I know. Every time we'd walk in the room, he'd always ask, "How are you, beautiful?" How are, you know, he was just so sweet and encouraging. Anyways, so much fun.
And our ultimate cheerleader.
Oh, yes. So, how many years ago did he pass away?
Oh my gosh, it's been 5 or 6. I actually don't know. I kind of have it blocked out a little bit.
So, yeah, we
I'm
really
sorry.
close.
I don't mean to be a ball baby.
So, our Grandpa Childs, I want to put a picture of him up here. He's playing the harmonica.
It's one of my favorite pictures. I have this in my living room.
Yes, and that's how you would find our grandfather most of the time. So I have one of his harmonicas that he played, and he tried a couple of times to teach us a little bit to play.
Our cousin Katie plays the harmonica,
Oh,
and I think
fun.
Weston does too.
That's fun. He had quite the collection. He had little tiny ones that had 4 notes. 4 notes, I'm trying to remember. I mean, all the way up to these really large. He talked about his dream harmonica. I don't think he ever did get the dream harmonica. But he taught a lot of different classes in school. He taught 8th grade for 32 years.
Something like that.
Said he finally graduated 8th grade after 32 years. And one of the things that he taught was art. And my grandfather was really such a great artist. He loved to sketch, and one of his favorite things to sketch were airplanes. So he was in the Navy, and he never did fly any of the airplanes.
Not in the Navy, although later he did get his pilot's license and flew small planes.
Yep. He was a nurse in the
corpsman,
Navy. Corpsman.
A Navy corpsman.
There you go. Thanks for the technical terms. But he was fascinated with airplanes. And we live, I live in Kearns in Utah, which is originally a Army base. And right next to us is an airport. And there's a lot of military airplanes that are always flying overhead, and he loved it. He loved living here because I live actually less than half a mile from where my grandfather used to live and where my mother grew up. And so they're always flying overhead, and he loved watching that. So he would draw sketches of model airplanes. And so I have some, let's see if we can see. He gave me, shortly before he passed away, all of his airplane sketches. He said, "Nobody will want those."
Oh, silly Grandpa.
He was so much fun. Here's a Lockheed Vega 52 and Winnie Mae, drawn in 1990. Let's see. And I know nothing about these, so I'm just reading what he put. P-40C Tomahawk. That's the one on the top here. And there's a lot of his sketches. I have just a pile of them. But he didn't just do that. He would draw setups of, like, here's one of his vehicles and how he could pack his vehicle for camping.
And this shows the mathematician inside of him as well.
Yes, he also taught math. So here's the cart and how he would pack it. Here's the tent and all the things that would go in there. Here's setup B, setup A, setup B. And his camper.
Oh, his tent trailer. Wasn't it?
Yeah. His tent trailer, not camper.
Yeah.
But in here, I have to find it, is my favorite, is he always dreamed of buying a van and remaking it into like a camper. And I guess he actually did do it, but I don't know.
A little bit, yeah.
It wasn't ever quite his dream setup.
No, but I remember that van.
He even put on here what fabric, like the shag carpet and the velvet.
This was actually in the late 70s, early 80s.
I'm looking for the date. Because he dated everything, but there's not a date on this one.
Well, I remember writing in the van that he eventually carried out these plans when I was 8 years old. And so that would have been
So I have
80s.
to kind of scan through so you can see it close enough.
That's so fun. Oh my gosh. I did not know these existed. How fun is that?
It is so much fun to look through. So he really liked to sketch a lot of things, but airplanes were his favorite.
Yes, they were.
And he would then, he would sketch them first, and then he would carve them. So
yes, so
all of his grandchildren, we got one of his airplanes, and then his children have more of his collection.
He had dozens and dozens of these, and in various sizes.
Yeah.
And he would use balsa wood.
Later on, I have to tell you about earlier on what he did.
Oh yeah, originally he would
glued layers of cardstock, cut them out, and sanded them and painted them.
Yeah. Grandpa was industrious. Let's use that word. He
lived in the make-do.
Yes,
time,
very
really.
much. And he had always loved, like he had seen once somebody who had an art box that it was like a case that you could open up, and it had all these little drawers and cubbies to keep all of your different art supplies. But it was expensive. It was wooden, and he wanted something like that so bad. So he just made one out of cardboard, and he used that until he died. And he still had that. He had all the little drawers that he cut out and created and reinforced cardboard all glued together. So, but yes, toward later on he would get balsa wood. He moved up and got the expensive stuff.
Yes.
You guys know how cheap balsa wood is at your craft store. And he would carve them out, and then he would use he'd paint them, but then all those little details on there, that's just pencil. He would pencil in the little details. You can see on the back here. Anyway, and he had just tons of these.
I knew what
and some of them had propellers. I know that he talked to my husband a lot about these, and Richard may know more.
Well, and I'm sure I could find it
in his notes somewhere too.
Differentiate.
This one apparently had a propeller originally, but by the time I got it, it was gone. Yeah. And he had a glass case about this big with little shelves in it.
And we always, going over to visit,
that would spin.
He'd look through
around
all of the airplanes, Grandpa's airplanes. Yeah. He had several. That was just where he kept his favorites.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So
those are so fun.
It is really fun. So he also drew a lot of other things. He had a lot of other sketches. Mm-hmm. He did some landscapes.
He did quite a bit of landscapes. Houses.
Yeah. But I remember him teaching me a very basic art class when I was growing up on sketching and on perspective, and that was really fun. So you want to show one of his?
So this is one of his, the glass. There's glass on it. I hope you can be able to see it.
Well, no, you can see it right there.
I've got it tilted a little bit. So this is a colored pencil sketch that he did of a landscape. And the thing about something like this is it would have driven him crazy that I've got this in a frame in my home, because he's like, oh, that's just a sketch. That's not anything good, but it's treasured for me, so I'm trying to keep it tilted so you could see it, but that's a sketch. And he would do a lot of kind of country farm type areas, because that's where he grew up. He grew up in a very, very tiny, tiny little town in central Utah.
His bedroom,
and that's what he loved. Yeah.
When he was young, was a car. Was the back
during the
car.
Summer.
During the summer, in the winter time, he was. But it's because their house was a one room.
Yeah, there was a room for the parents and a room for his sister, and then he and his brother would sleep in the kitchen parlor kind of area.
So in the summertime, they had an old car body. I don't remember what it was, but he said that was his room, and he loved it. He loved it. So. Yeah, just really small town, rural areas. But Grandpa was delightful, and I just loved how he was always so, like you said, our cheerleader, so supportive and
so positive.
Yeah, just loved all that. So we're not quite the same type of artist as our grandpa, but we have inherited those genes.
At least the desire.
The love for all those types of art. So did you bring some of your...
I brought a couple of things. Most of the things I've drawn, I've given away, and I haven't done this in years, honestly, you guys. So this is not necessarily recent. This is a copy, so I don't know if I'm going to show that.
I'll show that one.
I just have some little bits and bobs of things I've drawn. This is a copy. I actually gave this piece away, and so I just have a copy, and it was folded in half. But this was, and so you can see it's a really bad copy. You can see the streaks in it, but this is a portrait I did of my niece and nephew, who are now grown. I mean, this is when they were teeny. That's a horrible copy.
It looks much better here than
I know. I think
it
accentuates the bad copy. Maybe we'll try and see if we can get a picture or something. I don't know, but that's a picture I did of them. And then these are just little sketches, like shading practice sketches and eyes and the nose. But you know, here's some of me practicing noses. I don't know if these are going to turn out at all, but. So as you can tell, I've enjoyed portraiture more. Here's me. Okay.
Come on, Jess. You're okay.
This is just a section of a drawing with two different expressions. Here's practicing facial hair. I know, I love that one too. And then we've got ears. Anyway, as you can tell, I was going through kind of a phase of practicing different. These are not showing up well. This is really like intimidating for me to practice.
You're doing so good.
So right here, this was a picture. This was my son when he was little, my 21-year-old. There's my nephew again there. And some mouths. Anyway, this is like way intimidating. I didn't expect to feel so like
I'm looking at it thinking, Emily, you are so good. I don't want to show mine.
It's been so long since I've done anything, but I don't know if I could even draw. I mean, I don't know what I could do now. I mean, I would have to kind of start over, I think, a little bit, but I really enjoyed it for a long time, and I did several portraits where I would take a picture, a photo, and just recreate the photo. I don't think I would be any good at just coming up with it out of my brain.
Well, that's still an artist. I always thought that you weren't really an artist unless you could just do something out of what was in your mind. But I've since determined that art comes in all forms.
Yes.
So I would look at that and think, oh, I am a terrible artist, because I don't do anything that's realistic at all. Mine's all, I don't know. I don't even know what it would be. Cartoonish? It's not even cartoonish. What is it? I don't know. I like not really doodling, because my personality type could never doodle. I could plan to draw something random, somewhat.
I like this.
So I like to do kind of Zentangling. I bought a notebook, just plain sketchbook, and because of my type of planning, how I like to plan everything, I drew a whole bunch of boxes that I would fill in, and I filled in the steps that I take so I could remember how I drew it.
Nice. I love that.
For different types of non-doodles.
Yeah, it's like they're doodles still, what people would call doodles.
I guess I'm thinking the mindless, where when you're just not thinking about it and you just kind of randomly draw things.
I think
just don't really do that.
Doodle has morphed into meaning more.
Yeah,
this kind of.
Mine would probably be more doodling. I have sections with little birds and animals, and some with flowers. I have a section of borders. Here's just
Those are
different
beautiful
things that way. Anyways, so I needed to write a book.
Yes.
And I don't write. I barely can compose an email.
Oh, that's so not true. It's not your comfort zone.
It makes me have a heart attack almost. And I've discovered what it is that intention, is that people cannot determine what my intention is through my words. It's When you're in person, you can see facial expressions and hear your intonations and to gather more meaning from your words. But when it's just typed out, people can take it however and misconstrue it to be all sorts of who knows. And so I'm always worried that when I write something that people are going to think I mean something completely else, completely different. So I needed to write a children's book. And so I'm like, Emily, please help me. It's terrifying. I'm like, and I need to illustrate it. So I thought, well, Emily's the one that's really the artist, which is funny because you always say the other way around.
I don't feel like I am.
I feel like you're the artist or the person who draws really well. But anyways, so I started doing my own type of art. These are some things that are in my book. And I'm trying to think where I want to get to the section, the second book. I didn't do it just once. I thought, well, that went well. Let's do it again.
And it was wonderful.
And do a second one. So the second one turned out a little bit better. Here's one. This is actually reference from a picture of Emily's daughter. That was your post. I have a picture of her at our event.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
I'll have to put it side by side, Emily, for you to see.
I'd love it.
It's the same of
That's
her.
awesome.
So my sketching is very different.
Very whimsical and sweet. I love it.
So I don't know, not the same kind of art, and I'm feeling extremely self-conscious.
Isn't that hard?
Ooh, this is not like I was feeling pretty proud of it until I hold it up.
You should feel proud of it.
To
It's
show
beautiful.
everybody. So I'm trying to find some of my favorites.
I have lots of favorites that you've done.
Anyways,
They're
so
beautiful.
there's some of mine. Then I took a class, an online class called Whimsical Faces by Jane Davenport. She is my favorite instructor of all time. When she talks about tissues being underpants, she talks about you need the underpants of the tissues. Go take this class. You'll know what I'm talking about. It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Where did you find the class?
I can't remember. It's been a long time.
Is it like
I don't even know if it's available.
a website,
anymore.
YouTube?
But
Craftsie?
Jane Davenport, and it was called Whimsical Faces. So
Okay.
if you do a search for that, hopefully you'll find it.
Okay.
But it was a long time ago. She has a lot of other ones, but that's my favorite. So anyways, here's one painting. Oh, the lighting looks terrible for that now. That's okay. It makes her look like she's got koala eyes from that. Actually, this was the first attempt, but I was just using whatever I had around the house. So immediately after, we went and bought all the stuff because I couldn't stand that. And we went so we could have underpants of the tissues.
I don't understand that.
So tissues have multiple napkins. She kept saying tissues, but the napkins. The napkins have multiple if you have 2 plies, multiple layers.
Like a dinner napkin, like a paper dinner.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was trying to
So she wanted you to pull off the underpants, the bottom layer, and she used that for some things, and then you'd use the top layer for other things. But this was decoupaged on from napkins. But she's just funny. You have to go watch her tutorial.
That's awesome.
It is so much fun. You'll want to paint after that, or just
That's
watch her for
awesome.
entertainment.
I remember you've mentioned that a few times to
It
me.
is so much
Yeah.
fun. I think Aria, did she come and do it with us too?
She might have.
I think she did. She liked her too because she's
And
just
that's
really
one thing
fun.
that's really neat is that this hasn't just been, and by the way, our mom, I remember when we were in school, if we needed a visual aid for like a book report or something, then my mom would go, oh, okay, I'll just draw it. Do you remember? She did that for me several times. And I remember her like doing teaching lessons in like Sunday school for little kids and stuff in church. And she would want a picture to show them, like a story from the Bible or something. So she would just draw it. And they were just very simple little, sketches, but she could just do it. And so I just kind of thought that's what you were supposed to do, like growing up. That's what you do. If you need a thing, you just have to draw it. And what's cool is that our kids have really loved art too, because they've seen us enjoy it, and I don't know, it just keeps going on through the family.
All of our kids, all of my children love to draw.
Aria loves painting, and
She's been doing a lot of that.
She recently joined Instagram, so she's Crazy Creative Me on Instagram, and she's been posting some of the things that she's knit and painted and so on. So that's really fun. So,
all right. Well, thanks for
indulging us,
going on that journey with us. I know. Now I miss Grandpa a lot.
I know. Abby actually got out my wedding photo album the other day. Was it yesterday? The day before? And we were looking through it. And every time up until now, when I've looked at my wedding album, I've always cringed a little bit. Yeah. Because there were a lot of things that I thought were kind of tacky or whatnot. You know what? It's all gone now. I have none of those feelings now. I look at it and all I see are like, look at all the people I love and look at the things that people made. You know, my amazing mom did all of the flowers, and we just had silk flowers. I mean,
and
we really have no money.
Dresses.
And
she made all the bridesmaids' dresses. I sat next to her while she made it.
You're right. Yeah, she did,
and
they were
ruffles.
so pretty. Yeah. So she just did so much. And think about that, when you're the mother of the bride and you're doing all the flowers and making dresses and all of that. And I'm the oldest daughter, so first one to get married. And anyway, I just had all these just happy feelings, and all the grandparents and the pictures.
And your grandmother-in-law did the wedding cake.
My grandmother-in-law, she made wedding cakes. Her husband passed away when her oldest son was 27, I think, and she had 8 kids, so she still had 1 or 2 kids, 3 maybe at home, and she was a widow for, she never remarried. And so she, in order to support her family, made candies and cakes, especially wedding cakes, and sold them, and that's how she supported her kids. And so that was the gift she did for all of her grandkids, is make their wedding cakes. And it's you got the wedding cake grandma made. You didn't get to say, oh, well, I would like a cake that looks like this. You got the cake. This is the cake that you get. You could tell her what color flowers you wanted on it, basically, and that was about it. Except for my sister-in-law wanted red roses with black leaves, because her colors were red and black.
Oh, she never would have gone for that.
And Grandma said, you're going to invite Satan into your wedding, into your marriage. You can't have black on your wedding cake.
Black leaves to invite Satan.
Yeah.
Well.
That was so funny. Anyway, long story short. But yeah, and so anyway, just looking through my album, and there was that picture of Grandma and Grandpa together, Grandma and Grandpa Childs, and that just, I love them. Anyway, rambling.
All right, on to... She didn't bring it last time, so this time...
I have a book to share with you. And I don't know exactly how I can read... I can't read you this book. You need to go buy the book if you want, or get it at your library or whatever. But you have to find this book. It's called All My Friends Are Dead.
Sorry.
This is... I laughed the ugly laugh where I can't, my eyes squint shut, because... when I smile, this is what happens. And so if I laugh hard enough, I can't see, and crying, and I don't know. It's just my dorky sense of humor. Deborah's going to read it in a minute, and then she will understand. But it says, have you ever laughed and cried at the same time? All My Friends Are Dead is both the saddest funny book and the funniest sad book you'll ever read. It's just hilarious, and I'm going to show you just a couple pages.
Because it doesn't sound hilarious, except for...
It's hilarious.
I'm just seeing
a dinosaur. It starts
out,
all my friends are dead. And I'll show you the next one.
Dinosaur, of course.
And then there's a dodo.
All
my friends are dead. Okay, one more.
How long is this book? We should read.
Most of my friends are dead.
Oh.
I'm not going to go on from there because I feel like it would be an infringement of copyright for me to read this book to you. Otherwise, I totally would, because it's really short, but it is so hilarious. So I was at Amber and Jared's house, and they had this book, and so I read it there. And as I was sitting there, I got on Amazon and ordered it because I thought I have to have this, and then I brought it home and read it to my kids. It came and I read it to my kids, and they thought it was pretty funny. Not as funny as I did, because I'm just a dork when it comes to...
My family doesn't think the bathroom book is as funny. My husband's totally embarrassed by it. But you know what I did yesterday, though?
What?
I was watching Amber Lindemann's podcast, and she was showing a whole bunch of knitted toy books. Or some of them were crochet, just different books of toys that you can knit or crochet. And one of them had a knitted Mexican wrestler. And
It's like Nacho Libre or what?
And my husband's like, well, everybody needs that. And before she even finished showing the book, I got on Amazon and I ordered it. So thank you, Amber. I will be knitting my husband
a Mexican wrestler. Happy Father's Day, dear.
I mean, it's a gift that everybody needs, but
It's
nobody
a gift
knew
that
that they
keeps
needed.
on giving. Oh my gosh. You guys, this book is hilarious. You have to check it out. It's so funny.
Well, thanks for joining with us, and we hope that we can see you again in just a couple of weeks. I'm sorry about the tapping noise because I keep bumping stuff. So.
Have a great, enjoyable April, springtime, and especially enjoy Easter.
Easter.
Yeah, we're so excited for that.
All right.
All right, we'll see you. Bye-bye.